What if the Berlin Wall had never fallen? Would East and West Germany still exist today? A world permanently divided? Would Europe be permanently divided? Join history's forked path as we explore this incredible historical scenario where the past is rewritten. In 1989, the world watched with bated breath as a seismic event changed the global geopolitical landscape. The fall of the Berlin Wall, a symbol of division. For nearly 3 decades, the wall symbolized the division of a people, a city, and an entire continent. Its fall heralded the end of the Cold War. But what if on that fateful night, the wall had stood firm? What if the soldiers had not yielded? What would have happened to Germany, Europe, and the world? In November 1989, pressure from the East German populace grew. They yearned for freedom, for change. Thousands poured into the streets of Leipzig, then Berlin, demanding freedom of travel and reform, a wave of hope. A high-ranking official, during a press conference, inadvertently announced that travel regulations would be eased immediately. This announcement caused great misunderstanding. Hope ignited in the hearts of the people yearning for freedom. Thousands of citizens immediately flocked to the Berlin Wall checkpoints, hoping for freedom, an endless stream of people. At the checkpoints, hope surged. They believed the door to freedom was about to open. Border guards stood there, witnessing an unprecedented sight, torn by conflicting orders. The crowd grew, pressure mounted. They awaited a historic decision, a major turning point. All eyes were on the fence, where the destiny of a nation and an entire continent was about to be decided. But history could have taken a different turn. What if on that fateful night, the East German authorities had not yielded, but instead tightened their grip on power? Under the direction of a resolute leader, security forces were ordered to tighten border controls, rejecting all information about easing restrictions. Or the authorities attempted half-hearted reforms, opening a few controlled gates, but not enough to appease the deep-seated popular discontent. Regardless of the scenario, the Berlin Wall would have stood firm, reshaping the course of history. Let's explore the consequences. On the night of November 9th, 1989, there was no explosion of joy. Instead, there was disappointment and the echoing command to tighten security. The flow of people heading to the checkpoints was decisively blocked. Hope vanished in that moment. Loudspeaker warnings echoed, turning hope into fear. A clear message: the wall would not fall. The heavy presence of border units and armored vehicles further amplified the fear. In West Germany and other Western countries, public opinion was shocked and outraged by East Germany's decision. World leaders condemned East Germany's actions, but no military measures were taken to intervene. Diplomatic tensions escalated, economic sanctions were considered, but their effectiveness was negligible. The inner German border became cold and extremely tense, almost returning to the peak of the Cold War. Inside East Germany, the spirit of the people was dealt a heavy blow. Hope for freedom was extinguished. Instead, anger and despair smoldered. A shared pain spread. Public protests were more severely suppressed, and dissidents were closely monitored. Many attempting to cross the border faced greater danger, as security measures were intensified along the entire wall. The German Democratic Republic continued to exist as a police state, maintaining strict control over its citizens' lives. But with an increasingly weakening economy and a society deeply divided between supporters and skeptical citizens, relations between East and West Germany became strained, with official communication channels severely restricted. The division within a people deepened, the shared pain of those separated. Daily life in East Germany continued under strict control. Shortages of basic goods became a part of life, a daily burden. Media was heavily censored. Only permitted information was disseminated. East German youth grew up in a limited world, lacking exposure to the outside world. Controlled visits between the two parts still occurred, but always under strict surveillance. Trust in the system gradually declined. Skepticism seeped into every corner of society. Underground tunnels or daring escape plans still continued, but risks grew higher. Security forces intensified patrols, making border crossings almost impossible. The cold winter further exacerbated the harshness of the dividing border, reminiscent of the Cold War. Divided families continued to suffer, each day a reminder of the loss. In the West, prosperity continued, but compassion for their Eastern brethren remained unwavering. Two parallel worlds, close yet untouchable, a harsh reality. And the Berlin Wall, it still stood tall, an unhealed scar in the heart of Europe. 2 decades, then 3, 4 decades passed. The Berlin Wall still stood tall, becoming a permanent scar on the map of Europe. Germany remained divided. West Germany, with its free market economy, continued to prosper. West Germany became an economic powerhouse in the European Union, but the haunting specter of division always weighed heavily. That specter influenced foreign and domestic policy, making it more cautious in alliances and always seeking peaceful solutions. Meanwhile, East Germany became a forgotten nation in the center of Europe, with a stagnant economy. East Germany relied heavily on aid from political allies, and the lives of its citizens remained tightly controlled. More advanced surveillance technologies were implemented to prevent discontent and maintain social order. Cultural and social differences between the two parts deepened, creating two opposing worlds. West Germany developed with consumer culture, individual freedom. East Germany plunged into collective control, material scarcity. On the international stage, Germany's disunity had profound geopolitical impacts. The Eastern military bloc persisted, creating a clearer demarcation between the two blocs. Europe remained a divided continent, with defense and foreign policies built upon this division. European economic and political integration could have been significantly slower or taken an entirely different direction. Other Eastern European nations might not have experienced strong democratic transitions, or they might have been slower, more difficult. The existence of the wall spurred the development of surveillance technology and border security, a distinct market. Life under the shadow of the wall would shape the psychology and identity of many generations, creating a complex legacy of freedom, control, and permanent division, a historical lesson. Education in East Germany still focused on state ideology, lacking diversity of information. Art and culture were restricted, lacking much innovation, reflecting tight control. Environmental issues became more severe due to lack of investment and old technology. Relations between East Germany and the Soviet Union remained close, maintaining strong influence. An underground opposition movement still simmered, but it was difficult for it to erupt into a large-scale movement. West German media still tried to penetrate East Germany via radio waves. The new generation grew up with stories of a unified Germany being just a myth, unreal. Historical documents in East Germany were rewritten to conform to the state's perspective. The influx of Western culture was prevented, creating a distinct cultural world. Historical and cultural sites in East Germany retained their old appearance, lacking restoration. Stories of division became part of folklore and underground art. Differences in language, accent, and way of thinking between the two parts became increasingly pronounced. Ultimately, a parallel history where the destiny of a people was forever imprisoned by an unyielding wall. The non-fall of the Berlin Wall would paint a completely different picture of Europe and the world, a changed timeline. From minor policy changes to the reshaping of culture and geopolitics, a moment that changed the fate of millions. What historical hypothesis would you like history's forked path to explore next? Share your thoughts and don't forget to subscribe.